Okay, hey, what's going on YouTube? It's your boy Jamar84 here once again. Now I know it's been a long time coming. Okay, so here's what happened. Here's what happened, y'all. So there's good news and bad news. All right. I tried to say this on a stream earlier, but if y'all been wondering like where's the streams been, for whatever reason, every time I tried to stream, my PS4 would say, "Oh, internet connectivity is too weak to stream," and then the stream would stop. That's why you would see like those 2, 3 minute streams, and it just kept abruptly stopping. So I'm not sure what's going on because my internet is fine. Like if I try to play without streaming, it's fine. But when I do try to stream, it all of a sudden is a problem. I don't know. But let me tell you this before we go, and then we can get to the video. The good news is, luckily, thank be to the Jesus above, I was able to get a job. Okay. Now I'm not gonna say where the job is, just because I don't need to know all of that. But thank God I did get a job. I'm back in my field now, and it is in Los Angeles, California, which is very, very exciting. Thank you, thank you, thank you to everybody who has supported me up until this point. Now, those of y'all who may have come over here or are familiar with the RuPaul's Drag Race reviews that I do with Maddie Rants, y'all know that we have been trying to relocate to Los Angeles due to trying to get the show to greater opportunities and things of that nature. So it finally is in the works and is happening. So I'll be moving in like just under a month. So that's the good news. But the bad news about that is the whole relocation thing. And so there's gonna be a time where I'm not gonna be able to film because I'm trying to get settled in and traveling. Like I'm gonna have to drive from Texas to California, y'all. That's 22 hours, Jesus. But yes, that's the good news. That's what's been going on. I haven't been able to stream because the PlayStation Network is tripping. I haven't been filming videos because I've been going back and forth trying to get this move and stuff together. So, but I did want to come and give y'all something just because y'all have been so patient. And I wanted to do one of these videos anyway. So I did notice there's a Llama Arts animated video here that I haven't seen yet. And then I'm going to do his, and then I'm going to do a couple of the Mr. Nightmare stories without the animation, but they still have like pictures. So that's what we're going to do. Thank y'all so much. I'm going to try to give y'all three or however many, depends on how the work goes. I may even give y'all a longer video. You never know. But I just want to come share that news with you guys so you guys will know what's up. Don't be trying to come up. Wait, who is that? 28. Hold on. Okay, so let's go ahead and get the video started. Lego. What's this called? This is called The Wedding Hand. A look-see episode 1. I'm not even sure what that means. I'm not even sure what that means. Oh, shit. Okay, wait. What's happening? I need backstory. If you yourself cannot release, it will come take its place. What? Oh, that's a nice ring. Okay. What the hell is going? Oh, girl, what is happening? He is gonna look over the. He's gonna look over, girl. You know he's gonna look over the counter. You know he's gonna look over the counter. You know he's gonna look up. I'm scared, bruh. Uh-uh. He's gonna look over the girl. Huh? Oh, don't leave. Please don't leave the stall. Oh Lord Jesus. Oh Lord Jesus. Ooh, he want the punani. He want the punani. Ooh, girl. What? Okay, you have to get rid of the ring. Does it get rid of the monster? What on earth? I really feel like I'm missing something going on. Ooh! 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 See, this is why you never get married. Ooh! Oh my God. Why? But why? Why? What? I don't understand. I don't understand. I feel like I needed an explanation. I mean, that was great, but I mean, what? I feel like there's a background because I'm seeing some related videos of the look-see monster and ending explained. I may have to look at that later, but what? Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna pause this and we're gonna go to one of Mr. Nightmare's stories, and then we'll be right back. Okay, y'all. So check it. In the midst of me looking for Mr. Nightmare's, regular stories, I found, I don't know, I found another animated uh channel who apparently does like animated horror stories. The animation was a little bit different. I don't know if but we're gonna try her out. We're gonna try this one, see how she does, and if we like it, we'll watch some of their animated stuff and react to it. This is called the creepiest McDonald's horror story. So I feel like a lot of us can relate. So I'm gonna give this person a chance. This channel is called Mort. It has quite a bit of a following, so I'm gonna see what she giving. I'm gonna see what she giving. This is creepiest McDonald's horror story.
It was about 3 in the morning and I was on my way to my job at my local McDonald's to open with one of my favorite managers there with me. She told me to text her when I got there so that she could let me inside. Once I pulled in, I noticed a man standing outside of his car in the farthest corner of the parking lot. He was shooting me this sort of menacing stare. Let me point out that it's completely pouring outside. I was really confused as to why this guy wasn't just sitting in his car. I then parked and texted my manager to let me inside. Seconds later, I noticed her at the door opening it for me. Upon walking up to her, I say my usual good morning. I was stopped mid-sentence by her rushing me inside and saying, "Did you see that guy outside?" I told her yes, and she proceeded to help me refill sauces, napkins, and things like that. My manager then told me that she's going to check the security tapes just to make sure that everything during the period that the restaurant was closed was okay. Minutes later, my manager called me into her office for whatever reason. She told me to look at the screen and it showed that the same man was standing outside. The time was 12:47. She then fast-forwarded the tape to reveal that the man had been standing outside the entire time up until now. And at this point, it's about 3:50 a.m. I ran to the front lobby and I noticed him still standing over by his car. I figured or was hoping that he was probably just on something and he was waiting for us to open so that maybe he could get breakfast. I resumed filling sauces again and making sure everything was in working order. Until I was
Okay, first of all, if you notice that the man had been standing out there with his car this whole time, I'm going to assume that's not his car, first of all, because I can't figure any reason why somebody would be standing outside of a locked, well, he didn't say it was locked, but a car that long. Like, but then again, if it's somebody else's car, why wouldn't they have gotten it between that time? Mysteries. And he just looked like he got shocked by something, so I know some ish about to go down, so let's see.
abruptly interrupted by banging at the front door. I walked over and noticed a figure right outside the front door. It was the man. I yelled that we were closed and that he would have to come back later. That didn't seem to faze him as he continued to bang on the door. I walked away, figuring that he was just being an asshole when suddenly I heard a loud crash. I
Oh,
ran to the lobby to see the glass door broken and the man beginning to step inside. I yelled for my manager and told her that we needed to leave through the back door. And we did just that. We booked it to our cars and both called the cops. They arrived in about
oh,
15 minutes and came outside the restaurant with a dirty-looking man in cuffs.
what the?
They said he was hiding in the back janitor's closet with a large knife in his hand. So that's my story, and also the reason I'm never working early mornings again.
Girl. Oh, my Lord. Oh, my God. I like that. That wasn't half bad. I'm gonna have to give this person. Why are y'all calling me during my shit? Damn. Don't nobody ever want to call when I ain't doing nothing. The minute I start doing stuff, now everybody want to be in my face. Girl. Anyway, I actually like that. I'm gonna do a couple more of these. We may just have ourselves a new animator, baby. So I'm gonna do the scary pizza delivery story. What kind of want some pizza now? I might make me a pizza later. Okay, pizza delivery. Let's see what she giving.
This was about 6 months ago in the summer, southern hemisphere here. I tend to order a fair bit of pizza since hunger is a thing, and pizza is pretty much my only option for delivery since I don't drive. Now, I'm the kind of girl who doesn't wear pants if I don't have to. Oh, the weather's about 25 degrees, no pants for me. I have one pair of shorts that I love to wear, but only around the house. So obviously I put those on as I'm expecting a pizza delivery and can't exactly open the door pantless. I open the door, accept the pizza, and begin eating my dinner by the television. Not too long into my meal, I get a message on my phone. I've deleted the messages, of course, but in the first message, the sender calls me by name, which is strange as I prefer my nickname, and asks if I'm home alone often with a winky face. Okay, way creepy. Who is this person? Between me asking who on earth they are and how they got my number, probably a mistake on my part, they begin to
Uh-uh. Red t-shirt, black pants. B, maybe. This is when you call your friend. Oh, you said you don't drive though. Dang, girl. And see, this is why you have to live by people. This is why I like, the good thing about an apartment is that you're always amongst people. Okay, so at least if something goes down, there's witnesses. But if you in the house, especially if you in a rural area, and you can't really get to nobody, and you don't drive, so it's not like you could get up and leave. Girl.
describe exactly what I was wearing, and I get a horrible sinking feeling. This person has my number, my name, and how I'm dressed. I realize that the only way they could know this is if they were the guy who delivered my pizza, as I had to use my name and number to order. And if that's the case, this person knows where I live too. I put the number into Google and checked the first few results. They're a local, and I've actually seen this person around on one of the buy, swap, sell pages on Facebook. Realizing they were in my town was the worst part, and they were literally in a good position to stalk, harass, or continue to be creepy as hell. I ended up drawing all the blinds, crawling into bed, and pretty much making myself into a blanket burrito, staying as still as I could for a few hours. I was genuinely scared out of my wits. Thankfully, I've yet to hear from the
Uh, see, I'm gonna have to let her go because she ain't doing nothing smart enough for me. Like you should have called a friend. You ain't called nobody. You ain't called the police. Like, girl, what? Why? What was the point? Like, okay, you figure out this happened. You Googled it. You find out this is some creeper. Why you ain't telling nobody? Why you wrapping up like a damn burrito, but ain't gonna tell nobody? That don't make no sense, girl. That don't make no sense. Now I'm gonna give this person one more because there's a gas station horror story that looks pretty good, and it's actually pretty long, so it's 6 minutes. So let's look at that one, see what she giving. Okay, we back. Gas station horror story. I'm gonna give y'all a good old smorgasbord of stuff today, just because I've been so busy and haven't uploaded. So we're gonna give y'all everything today.
To add a bit of backstory, I was an active duty Marine a year prior to this story happening. Granted, we're trained to take lives and deploy to other countries to fight. Sad to say that I never got the opportunity to deploy, but if I wasn't trained as a Marine, I honestly think I wouldn't be here telling this story. Now, onto the story. This story took place last year on a cool summer night here in Arizona. I just got off from work and took a coworker home from a late night dinner after the shift. I passed by a gas station after I dropped her off. I was working 2 jobs at the time, so it was already late, around 2 a.m. I knew an energy drink would help me wake up tomorrow morning for my next job. So I was slowly pulling into this empty gas station. I noticed no other cars anywhere. That's when something caught my eye as I was pulling up in front of the entrance. There was a shadowy figure that suddenly pulled up along one of the walls of the gas station and kept creeping along the walls, getting closer as I pulled up. There was some sort of shadowy figure that suddenly pulled up along one of the walls of the gas station. It crept along the walls, getting closer as I pulled up and turned off my car. But at the time I couldn't care less because I was tired and I figured he was just a drunk and about to ask for change or something like that.
Nope. That's all the reasons that I would need to go somewhere else. No, ma'am. It ain't worth it, y'all. Let me tell you something. One thing my dad taught me is if you would come up on a gas station and you see people standing outside, especially it's 2 a.m., it's late, and a person already looking shady, don't you stop there. Don't you stop there. Even if it is a homeless person or whomever, you don't know if that person is armed, dangerous, crazy. It ain't that them gas dollars is not worth your. If you can make it to the next available gas station anywhere nearby, do it. Because if you see people standing outside, it's not safe, baby. It's not safe, and you about to find out why.
I saw the outline
Ooh.
of his face as he pulled away from the shadows. He opened his mouth to say something, but before he could say anything, I cut him off and said, "Hey, I'll be right back, sir." He just kinda stood there and stared at me as I walked into the gas station. I wasn't even thinking about him because I was tired and just wanted to go home. I swooped up my favorite energy drink and walked up to the cashier. I paid for my drink in a matter of a minute as the cashier wasn't really in any mood to make any small talk. I pushed the entrance door open and I noticed that the man was no longer there. I was looking around for the man as I approached my car to only see him coming from the dark corner again.
Oh no.
But something seemed off about him this time. I didn't care to stick around to see what was off about him and went to open my car door. Then I heard rapid footsteps approach from behind
Oh
me.
no.
I
Girl. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something right here, right now. You walk run up on me in a gas station, like baby, you getting a swift whoop, elbow, headbutt, knee kick. No, ma'am. Now, mind you, I actually have, like, if I got my door open, especially if I was already sort of feeling disturbed about this, I have a box cutter in my car. I have a box cutter right there in my driver's seat. So if some shady business goes down, if I'm in a situation, I'm taking that thing out with me. So if anybody tries it, which is exactly what he should have did in this situation. Because do you see this? Do y'all see this? No, ma'am.
turned around as fast as possible to make eye contact with him.
Oh no.
He was just staring at me less than an arm's reach away.
Back
Every
up, bruh.
option suddenly ran through my head, screaming at me to just get in the damn car and slam the door. But he was already too close for me to try anything without him trying to do something. So I wanted to try and create a peaceful conversation as a desperate attempt to try to get this creep away from me. I said, "Oh, hey, it's you again. Is there something I can do for you?" His whisper had a scratchy tone to it as he said, "Got any change?" I was actually thrilled. I was happy because I could just give this creep some money as a peaceful resolution. I said, "Sure do. Hold on, I'll dig it out for you." By the time I grabbed a fistful of change as I leaned into my car, I heard the passenger door behind me open, and then I felt a handful of my hair get pulled into my driver's.
Girl, okay, girl. You just wow, okay. Girl, you stupid. You are foolish and stupid right now. Because if he gave you that, then you should have immediately locked your car, with your dumb ass. You should have locked the car, only opened up the driver's side, locked that one too, so that he couldn't open that door, got your change, rolled down the window just a little bit to reach your arm through there and drop whatever it is that you was gonna drop, and been about your. Why did you leave? Why did you leave your door unlocked with this crazy person? So you deserve this. You deserve this. You did not think with your brain in this situation. You don't trust this man. Oh, he just wants some change. You know he just did that to get your attention diverted. Girl, girl.
seat. My hair got yanked back really hard as he whispered, "You fucking scream or yell and I'll fucking kill you." Then I felt a knife slowly glide over my throat. He then whispered, "Understand." I carefully nodded up and down. He then replied, "Now we're going to New Mexico. Don't do anything stupid or I'll cover your car's interior with your blood."
Dang. Oh my God. I see, y'all. This is why you do not get out with shady characters at 2 a.m. by gas stations. That is the primal place where they like to be. Oh God.
At the time I was thinking, fuck, this can't be fucking real. So I had to think and relax. That's one thing my commanding officer said in the Corps. The key to victory is a clear conscience and a cool head. So I asked him, "Okay, how are we doing this? You just gonna give me directions?" I then felt his grip on my hair loosen. "Good, smart kid. I hate when they beg me to let them go. Now use your GPS or whatever." His knife was still gently pressed up against 70% or so of my throat. So I told him I was slowly going to reach into my glove compartment for my GPS. Then I asked him where in New Mexico we were going. He laughed and told me to just shut up and drive. Why was he laughing now? This guy was a complete psycho. I was there driving and praying in my head for a chance to open where I would be able to fight back. I could tell that his knife was starting to get loose around my neck for every 5 minutes or so that I drove. The knife at the start of this drive was at about 70%, but now it was at around 50%. I had to make a right at the intersection. Finally, I saw an opportunity. I saw this Ford Ranger pickup truck coming down the road I was supposed to join on. In my head, I asked myself, "Do you really want to die a coward?" Then, as I saw the Ford Ranger approach at a rapid rate, I pressed all the way down on the gas pedal. Then, boom. All I remember from all the commotion is the guy leaning back as I slid my hand under his wrist of the hand that was carrying the knife.
Babe, did you just crash your car? Girl. Now, what would y'all do? I don't. First of all, I wouldn't have been in that situation because, common sense. But since, for the sake of argument, because honestly, even if you take this path, even if you do everything that the person, that your captive person tells you to do, that still doesn't guarantee that he's just not going to slit your throat at the end and take your car. Like, so I guess all he could do is find an opening, and I guess crashing the car is an option. Girl, that's excessive, honey.
And pinned it against the steering wheel of my car. I can hear the horn blaring, attracting more attention. He let go of the knife and ran out of the car as the intersection made itself known to me again, as my surroundings were no longer blurry. I wanted to run after him, but the driver of the Ford Ranger grabbed me and said, "Hey, what the hell happened? Do you have insurance?" I was trying to push through the guy to catch that fucking coward, but the only words that escaped my mouth were, "Don't let him get away!" That's all I was yelling as I saw the dark silhouette of the man disappearing into the darkness. I told the police everything when they arrived. I did everything you're supposed to, but nothing really ever came of it.
Everything you were supposed to? I no, that's debatable. Because I could point out quite a few things that you did not do. Okay, girl, if you did those things, you wouldn't have had that situation in the first place. I'm just gonna let you know that right now. So don't lie.
And they didn't see anyone matching my description of the man. I now carry my gun on me and a few knives, so I will never be the victim of something like this again.
I'm glad you learned. You did it the long way, but I'm glad you got there eventually. You know what? It's all about learning. So I don't know. Their animation is a little sketchy. The stories are good, but the animation is still a little sketchy. So let me go back to Mr. Nightmare, my tried and true. I'll be back. Okay, so we're back with Mr. Nightmare, and this is just three basic true scary stories. There's not a theme to it. He does have quite a few other themed videos, which is actually very interesting that we're gonna definitely check out in the near future. But thank y'all so much for watching. I know this is a lot at once, but I'm trying to give y'all something, some good old content until I get everything settled. So thank y'all so much for supporting, and let's go. Okay, story number one.
My family and I are probably the biggest skeptics in the world, which is why I can't explain what happened that day. I went downstairs and my brother was in the kitchen. I grabbed a water and asked him if he believed in ghosts. He shook his head, but told me a story about something that he thinks may seem paranormal. Then I looked at him and asked, "Did you ever try to scare me when I came home from school?" I planned on asking that question to follow with my story. "Once," he said. Somehow that calmed me down, and I wasn't going to bring anything else up because I thought it was some kind of closure. He continued by saying, "But all I did was shoot a Nerf gun bullet at you while you were on the computer." I wish he didn't say that. That wasn't what happened to me in the 7th grade. I do remember him shooting a Nerf gun at me, but it felt inferior to what I was about to tell him. I continued to speak with him about the story that follows. It happened in middle school when I was in 7th grade and recently started off the new year. I came home that day and went to my bedroom where I sat in my bed and put in earbuds to watch YouTube videos.
As
My
one
mom had
does.
called me to tell me that my brother would be gone or would be leaving soon to go to a friend's house. My parents also worked late, which means I would be home alone. I was a very quiet kid when no one was around because I always had this fear that there could be someone in the house with me. If I didn't make much noise, then they couldn't find me, right? Who knew that suspicion could have possibly been true? I paused my YouTube video and headed to the bathroom. My house has a very weird layout. I'll try to explain what the important parts of this story looked like. If you were in my bathroom facing the door, you could step out and take a left, and my brother's room would be to your right at the end of the hallway, which is a short hallway. If you went right, you would reach the stairway that went down and stopped because there was a platform in the middle, and then you would walk in the same direction you came to get lower. The stairway leads to our main entrance of the house. We also have an alarm activated. If any doors or windows are opened, a box will immediately say which door has been used. I was in the bathroom and right about to flush the toilet when I heard a loud thud come from my brother's room. I assumed that he must be about to leave for his friend's house, so I flushed the toilet and got up to wash my hands. There were no more noises. The house felt still, but I felt like I was being listened to. I
Mm-mm. Let me tell you something. Remember earlier how I said I have the box cutter in my car? See, I have one in the car. I have one in my nightstand. I have this really blunt stick in my room that in case some ish goes, let me tell y'all, I be prepared because any thud, bump, creak, any of that, I'm believing it's Michael Myers, and I feel like that's just the safest bet to do. Because if it's not, you good. But if it is, you ready. At least you are not just, helpless and defenseless little lamb. Whenever I enter my house, even Even if my door is still locked, I go in there with caution. I look around. I'll turn on every light, look around every door, just in case. You never know if somebody's hiding in. And it's not like I'm in a bad place, but still, just instinctively, I don't. When you live alone, you gotta take certain precautions, baby. But this little gentleman is, home alone. He's told that his friend or his brother was about to leave to a friend's house, so his guard was down. But baby, you have to be prepared.
Turned off the sink and walked over to the bathroom door to lock it. Something felt wrong. My stomach started to ache from fear. I felt like I was just being paranoid, but I also couldn't shake that weird feeling in my gut. So I waited for another noise. I didn't have my phone on me, so I couldn't text my brother. We had a house phone in there, but it made loud noises when you dialed, so I didn't want to risk it. Then I heard talking, which was definitely coming from my brother's room, but that was not my brother talking, and it couldn't have been my dad. The muttering was deep and low. It sent shivers down my spine.
Ooh,
I could tell it was a voice because of the distinction of an S or a T, but I couldn't understand what it was saying. Then there was a slow pounding noise that started getting closer to me.
ooh.
It came out of my brother's room and nailed its way towards the bathroom door. It stopped dead in its tracks right at the door. I threw myself away from the door near the window, hoping that if it busted in, I could get away to leave. I couldn't fight whoever it was since I was a weak 7th grader, so that was out of the question. I covered my mouth to keep from breathing loudly in case they didn't know I was in the bathroom. Then they continued to walk. I could hear them making their way to the stairway, and then it stopped. I heard a loud crashing noise from what I thought was the middle platform of the stairs, and then again at the bottom. Then the muttering stopped, and the loud pounding made its way to the door. I heard the
Baby, ooh, ooh, Lord Jesus. Let me tell y'all something. This is how y'all know. Let me tell y'all a quick story of my own. And this is just how situations like this, I can only imagine being 12. I was at my dad's house. My dad lives in Detroit. That's where I'm from. He doesn't live there anymore. But one time I went to visit him for Christmas. I think it was like 2011, 2012. And being in Detroit, he had to go somewhere early in the morning, so I was gonna be at home by myself. And he's like, "Look, just in the worst case, the alarm codes. If something goes down, there is this gun in this cabinet right here that you can access from the bedroom if you need to. And I'm gonna turn on the alarm or what have you." Listen, my dad accidentally, and I never let him live this down. If y'all are familiar with home alarms, you can, set the alarm to away or stay. Now, if you do stay and the alarm goes off, you can move around the house. It only goes off if a door or window is open while you're in it. Away is the same thing, but most alarms have like a motion sensor that if you're away, then there should be no motion within the house. Okay? And so my dad accidentally set the alarm to away because he probably is used to doing it every time he leaves, and he didn't forgot that I was in there. So I was asleep. I woke up to go, or I didn't even really get out the bed completely, and the alarm went off. Baby, I wanted to pee myself. Let me tell you, but guess what I did? I reached in, I got that gun, and I was just in the bed still, and I had that gun pointed at the bedroom door, and the bedroom window was like facing a corner of the hallway. So as soon as something moved, as soon as I saw even like a ant or a rat, if I saw any motion, pop, 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 I was about to light whatever that was. I did not know what was going on. I stood there and that with that gun in my hand for like 10 minutes while the alarm was still going off. And I think my dad got notified and he tried to call me and he told me what ended up happening. And so I was shooketh. And I got up out the bed, still nervous, knees buckling and everything. I was terrified, and baby, that's all it was that my dad messed up the alarm. But guess what? I was ready. I bet you one thing, I was ready. Should anything go down, whoever it was that was about to try me that day was about to get a mouthful, okay? I'm just saying. Story time over. Back to the story.
Door open and close, and I heard the alarm go off for the door as well. I didn't know if it was safe or not, so I made my way to the door and rested my hand on the doorknob, still covering my mouth. To the left of me towards the ground is a laundry chute that led to our laundry room. If someone were to get from the main floor to the laundry room, it would definitely take over 30 seconds. But about 10 seconds after the door opened and closed, a vicious jabbing noise pounded at the small laundry chute door. I stood there in awe, not sure what to do. It sounded like someone took the end of a broom and reached up there to stab at the door. I watched as the pounding of the door vibrated the small laundry chute door, hoping that it wouldn't bust open. Then it ended. I waited in the bathroom for what seemed like an eternity,
Mm-mm.
and then quietly crept to my room to call my parents. No one picked up, so I waited for them to get home and held my door handle to make sure no one could.
Baby, I would have let my parents have. Let's say that you make it through the situation. If I called them when I actually needed them, when it was an actual emergency and they didn't answer, I would let them have it because I'm sure that y'all parents are like mine that whenever they call, they expect you to drop whatever you're doing, no matter how important it is, or if you at work or whatever, and you're supposed to answer their phone call, and they will be pissed if you miss that phone call. But you call them and they don't answer, they say, "Oh, I was doing such and such. You just gotta wait. I'll call you back." No.
Get in, since I didn't have a lock on it. When my parents got home, they didn't believe me. Soon after, my brother arrived, and he doubted me as well. Telling this again to my brother made his mouth drop. He continued to tell me that he used to hear things come from the attic that used to open up in his bedroom. I will honestly never forget that day. Me and my brother can't figure out who or what that was, and I try not to think too hard about it either. I still don't quite know what happened, and I may never know, but I want to.
Honey, no ma'am. No ma'am. Okay, this is story number two. Child.
My name's Alyssa. I was 16 years old at the time, living with my mom in a crappy Bronx, New York apartment. Living in the Bronx was definitely an experience, not a good one.
I'll bet.
Always sketchy characters around, usually scary to walk alone at night, small apartment, and creepy neighbors. I don't mean that as an understatement. Our apartment was the second to last one in a hall on the 7th floor, and our neighbor, the owner of the last apartment in the hall, seemed to always be sitting outside his door, sitting on the windowsill. He would always make a point of looking at me when I entered the apartment, even when I would be with my mom. My mom told me to stay away from that man. We never even knew his name. He was a black man in his 60s, very little hair left, but his remaining hair was gray.
Mm-mm.
He always had the same emotionless expression on his face when he looked at me. And then one day, it started. Every time I would see him in the hall, he would say hi to me, but he'd call me by my name to make it even creepier. I wasn't exactly sure how he got my name, but I never asked.
Nope.
There was one night that my mom was working the night shift, so I'd be home alone all night. I came home at like 9 p.m., and the neighbor was as usual sitting on that windowsill as if he didn't have anything going on in his life. As I unlocked the door, this time instead of saying hi to me, he asked me if my mom was working tonight. Here's
Nope. Nope. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Don't you tell that man nothing. You don't have to speak to him. You don't have to acknowledge him. No, ma'am. You asking too many questions, bruh. What does it matter to you? And even if you, for whatever reason, and I hope this person was smart. I hope the person in this story was smart. And if you're gonna respond, just say, "Oh no, she's already home. She's not working tonight. She's here." Don't let them know that you're home alone. My God. But the thing is, he's probably been watching the apartment this whole time and probably saw your mama leave out. And he just wanted to make sure that she didn't come back. Let's see what our person in the story does.
where I look back and cringe because of my own stupidity,
Oh no.
because I foolishly nodded yes. He didn't say anything after that. He just slowly nodded his head.
God damn it, girl. God damn it. Damn. Well, you fucked up.
I didn't say anything else either. I simply walked inside and shut the door. I had enough of his creepy ass for one night. Basically, after getting home, I just washed up a little bit. I had a snack, did laundry, and took a shower. As I was in the shower, I heard a weird rumbling noise. It was a pretty concerning noise, but I couldn't even begin to try and pin out what it could have been.
Oh hell no. Okay, now, y'all. Y'all know what that sound is. This man took a little electric, what is it called? A motor drill, electric drill, and is unhinging the screws to your door. That's what's happening. I guarantee you that's what's happening. Either that or he is drilling a hole, since he's your next door neighbor, he is drilling a hole through your wall, about to put in some kind of wire, listening device, or something. You know what that sound is. There's not too many things make that sound.
I got out of the shower after hearing it because I was concerned someone might have been in the apartment. I heard a similar noise outside of the bathroom. It seemed to come from my bedroom.
Mm-mm.
I threw on the clothes I had in the bathroom and searched my entire room. I couldn't find a person, but while searching my room, I saw an ever so tiny hole in the wall. I got closer to feel it and look at it.
Told you.
Then I got down on my knees to
Nah, I bet you it's that creepy man looking from the other side. See, I be knowing. This, yeah, I'm telling you.
look through it, and when I saw what was on the other side, I
Mm-mm.
fell backwards because of how scared I was of what I saw.
His eyeball.
It was someone's eye. Someone was actually looking through that hole from the other side. Then I realized this wall separated our apartment from the creepy neighbor's apartment. Then I had a sudden realization of what that sound I heard in the bathroom must have been. I ran back to the shower and felt all around the wall until I
Told
found
you.
another hole, identical in size from the one in my room. The neighbor drilled these two holes, maybe even more, to spy on me. I called my mom and told her, and as I
Mm-mm.
was on the phone with her, there were knocks on the apartment door. It was the neighbor, and he kept yelling, "Open the door right now, I didn't drill those holes." My mom freaked out and told me to call the cops, and she
Oh,
tried to get home ASAP.
hold on. First of all, how did you know about the holes? Hmm? How did you know that we was telling you that you did the holes? You listening far too hard on my conversation. Now, if you didn't drill those holes, and mind you, your apartment and my apartment are the only two apartments from what they described on this side of the hallway, only you can make those holes. And only you can hear the sound that comes from this apartment because you're the only one that's adjacent to the apartment. But, but this is again weapon, knives, something when you're alone, something.
One good thing about the Bronx, police response time is fast, and there were cops at my apartment door in under 5 minutes. My mom was home half an hour later. My mom pressed charges for stalking, invasion of privacy, and criminal mischief. The apartment building also evicted the man and patched up the holes at the man's expense.
Ha! That's petty, but I love it. Okay, story number three, child. This will be the last one.
I'll never forget the time my friend Hal and I went camping. Hal is an Eagle Scout and nature lover, so he's always going out on these camping trips. One time I decided to come along and see what it was about. He went with his at-the-time girlfriend Maya. I received a last-minute invitation. We carpooled together and arrived to the destination 3 hours later. Hal doesn't believe in going to campsites because it doesn't give the real camping experience when you're surrounded by other people, so he took us to some random dirt trail off.
Nope. Mm-mm. And I feel like I've mentioned this before. I don't do the camping. I don't do it. I do not understand the appeal of it. I if I do anything related to camping, it's gonna be like the backyard. Like I can still get up, go to the kitchen, and get a snack if I need to. Like I'm not with the whole roughing it woods, because you at the mercy of the elements, and I don't have time. No, that does not appeal to me. That is just scary and torturous.
some dead road that he seemed to know about. He drove down this dirt road in the woods for a couple minutes until he seemed to be content with where we were. Then he put the car in park. It was such an inconspicuous place to stop that I wasn't even aware at first that we were getting out there. Hal unloaded the trunk. Most of the stuff we brought consisted of tents, sleeping bags, food, toilet paper, and first aid equipment. Hal said he usually packed a lot lighter, but was making this an easy trip for Maya and I, whatever that meant. Once we found a good place to set up camp,
No, that was shade. He was basically saying I usually don't need all this stuff, but since I know y'all some scary holes, I'm gonna pack some extra stuff so y'all feel better. That's what that was.
Hal basically assigned us tasks. Setting up a tent was one thing I knew how to do, so Hal told me to set up the 2 tents. Maya stayed behind with me and kind of helped with the tents, while also unpacking some of the supplies. Hal went off to find dry firewood. He would come back every so often with a couple pieces of wood. Nightfall came quicker than expected. Thankfully, Hal had collected enough wood by then to start a nice fire, and the tents were pitched. We sat by the fire, drinking and reminiscing about old memories, most of which Maya was not in the picture for. I imagine she got tired of hearing our drunken, nonsensical stories because she went to her tent before Hal and I. So, Hal and I stayed up for a little while longer, now being a bit quieter and keeping the laughter to a minimum as a courtesy to Maya. I finished my last beer, and I was definitely feeling it by then. We chatted for a bit more, until Hal told me to shh and listened. I heard it too. There was walking out in the distance, beyond the area at which the fire lit up. Hal assured me it was likely a deer. When I naively asked what if it's a bear, he reassured me that a bear would not come this close to a campfire or the sound of people. I asked him if he was sure about that.
We don't know
He didn't
that.
answer though. The footsteps seemed to be going in circles, getting ever so slightly louder with each passing minute. When the footsteps got close enough, we started to hear a disturbing noise. It was like a clicking, growling type of noise.
No, no. Like, why would y'all put yourself through this? Why? I don't understand it. Someone help me figure out the logic. I don't get it. I do not understand why y'all put yourselves in the wilderness for nothing. When stuff like this can happen, what now? Why? You know, we'll be here all day me trying to figure out why people do this.
Is that a wolf? I whispered. Hal didn't answer.
It sounds like
He
Predator.
just motioned for me to get into the tent. I did what he said. I got into the tent that I pitched for myself, and I believe Hal got into the tent that I pitched for he and Maya. The clicking noise outside was getting more and more.
Oh no, best believe I'm not going nowhere and nothing by myself. You got me effed up, okay? We about to all be in this together. I ain't going nowhere by myself, and there's click clacking and all the growling going on back in the no, ma'am, no, ma'am.
Clear, and it increasingly became obvious it was not the sound of a wolf, or a bear, or any kind of animal I could imagine. It didn't even sound like something of this planet.
It was Predator.
The light from the fire outside cast an eerie glow onto the walls of the tent, and I had to cover my mouth so that I wouldn't scream when I saw the shadow on the tent walls of some horrific, huge, bipedal thing walking past my tent. The footsteps were so slow, but so heavy. It moved away from my tent towards the direction of Hal and Maya's tent. The next thing I remember, besides waiting in absolute horror, was Maya's scream. She screamed as if something were about to kill her. I didn't know what was happening, but I heard Hal screaming outside, "Run," over and over. I heard the two of them hurrying away outside, so I rushed
Jesus.
outside and followed. We ran in the pitch black, no flashlights, nothing, and yet
Oh,
we still knew we were being chased by something.
oh no.
Footsteps followed close behind me since I was in the back. By some miracle, Hal managed to lead us right to the car, and without looking back, we all got into our respective seats, and Hal floored it down the trail. Hal drove down the dirt trail for about half a minute before we came to a dead end. He had to somehow turn this pickup truck around now, in this dark forest, not too far from where we were being chased. I urged him to turn off the lights so that whatever was chasing us wouldn't see us. He insisted he needed the lights on though so that he wouldn't hit any trees trying to turn the truck around. He shifted from drive to reverse,
Girl, first of all, okay, why was y'all parked so far away from the campsite? I would have parked my car and camped right there. No shade. First of all, I wouldn't be camping at all. So, but still, devil's advocate, bitch.
drive to reverse over and over. Meanwhile, I sat in the back seat biting my nails and clenching my teeth, looking around the woods outside, terrified that I might see that thing from our campsite.
Mm-mm.
At long last, Hal got the truck completely turned around, and he once again stepped on it to get us out of that forest. We left everything at that campsite, at least $100 worth of equipment,
Girl,
but
fuck
there
that
was
quick.
zero chance of us ever going back there. What caused Maya to scream was heavy breathing and something pushing into their tent, trying to rip it open. Hal still says he's never heard or seen anything like that in his life. He still has no idea what it could have been, but it definitely walked on two legs. How do we know it wasn't a person, you might ask? Simply because of its size and the noises it made. I think everyone has one truly horrific, unexplainable experience in their lives, and this was ours.
No, ma'am. Absolutely not. Well, y'all, I think this is the longest one I have ever done, but I definitely wanted to give y'all something for being so patient, for those y'all have stuck with me through this whole trying time. Also, what I want to say, hopefully I'll do this before this video goes up. Since I have a job now, and I'm not too concerned about people seeing, you know, what I do on YouTube, not like it's offensive or anything, I will finally make all the videos public again. I know a lot of people have talked about me putting things on private. I will make everything public again so we can enjoy other past reactions that I've done, and y'all get to see all the other stuff I've done on my channel up until now. So if it's not done today, it'll be done tomorrow so y'all can see everything. Thank y'all so much for watching, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye bye.